Today we will be talking about observer pattern. It's a pattern in object oriented programming to observe or watch a value and do some action when it changes. We'll write our own small cricket match implementation of this pattern. Observer pattern requires two things: an observable, which is a wrapper around a value which may act upon it. Last thing is observer, which is the watcher. Many popular libraries are based on this pattern like RxJS, which is heavily used in a front-end framework called Angular. Observer subscribes or registers itself to an observer. There can be more than one observer which might act differently with the changes. For simplicity, we are allowing more than one observer, but they'll do the same. The register/subscribe function takes the observer and stores it in an attribute. It loops and calls them on a method which changes the value. The observer might log into the console, request something from an API. It depends what you're wanting to do with the value change. Here we are making a class called scoreWatcher, which takes the observer and will watch for score changes. We'll add constructor method which takes an observer, in this case a football match. Then we define another method called notify, which takes a score and who scored and just logs it. Then we define another class which is called football match, which is the observable. In the constructor method, we define a ton of stuff. Let's walk through it one by one. We take the team and team 2 from the user, create attributes for each. We define two attributes for storing the scores, and we have a list of observers which is empty right now. Going further, we define a method called register watcher, which takes an observer, in this case a score watcher, and appends it to the list of observers. Going further, we defined another method called notify watcher, which loops through the list and notifies each observer or score watcher with the value or score changes. Then we define a method called score, which randomly chooses a team and generates a score and reports the observer by calling notify watcher, and also displays the score in the terminal by calling display method, which we haven't defined yet. At the end, we define the display method, which calls the print function with two names and scores. Now we'll create a match with two different teams, and then we'll create a watcher and give it the match we created. Then we'll loop on a range and call the score method. You will see something similar in the terminal. That's how you write the observer pattern. I hope I helped you. Please press the like button and subscribe because I'm observing you right now.